And welcome everyone to Craft Lake City's Virtual Application Assistance Day for the third annual holiday market in Ogden. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Amy Stocks and I'm the Community Inclusion Coordinator for Craft Lake City. And I'll go ahead and let my colleague Liz introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Liz Vowles. I am the Artisan and Programs Manager for Craft Lake City, and I'm really excited that you're joining us and that you're interested in being part of the holiday market. We also have with us on the call Matt Morgan, who's going to be hosting the photography info session. So, Matt, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Morgan, and I am from Essential Photo Supply, and I am going to give you some tips and tricks on how to take great pictures of your products. And also we'll be open to any questions that you have. There's a lot of things to cover. We're definitely going to be leaving some things out. So feel free to put questions into the chat and we will answer those at the end. So I'm excited to help you guys take great pictures of your products.
Thanks so much, Matt, for being here and Liz for being here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen so that you can see our presentation. So hopefully can everyone see this? Great. All right, so welcome to Craft Lake City's Virtual Application Assistance Day. Just some quick notes, just house cleaning notes. Please mute your microphone and keep your mic muted so that all attendees can hear whoever is speaking. And as Matt mentioned, if you have some questions, please put those in the chat. This is meant to be interactive and we definitely want to get your specific questions answered. After the event, we will be sending out a survey. So if you could give us your feedback on your experience, it just helps us to continually improve our programming. Craft Lake City's mission is to educate, promote, and inspire local artisans while elevating the creative culture of the Utah arts community through science, technology, and art. And we're really excited to continue this effort in the Ogden area for the third year. So thanks for being interested in being a part of that. Just to talk a little bit about some other programming with Craft Lake City, we do have some in-person craft workshops that have returned. Right now, you'll just have to stay tuned. Make sure to follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter to get all of the info on these upcoming in-person craft workshops. We do have virtual programming available. We have live streaming virtual craft workshops as well. These are taught by Utah's most skilled artisans. Upcoming live streaming workshops include incense, fragrance of the gods on November 3rd. We also have Egyptian lotus clay earrings on December 1st. So you can subscribe to those on our website and get the virtual programming if that's more comfortable for you or more accessible for you. We also have pre-recorded online workshops that have been recorded from local artisans. We have dyed silk scarf making, feminist embroidery, constellations, felt wall hangings. We also have STEM Kids online workshops that you can access on our YouTube channel. So be sure to check those out if that's something that interests you. Another project that we have going on that's great for kind of a socially distanced but outside enjoying this beautiful fall weather we have these curation projects. We have both Celebration of the Hand and Local Voices. These exhibits and installations run along Broadway, 300 South between 200 East and 200 West. What's currently up now is Celebration of the Hand, We Are Performers, which is a celebration of the 13 years of performances at the DIY Festival. They collaborated with local digital artists, so you can go and see these plakats, which is the German word for billboard. You can scan the QR code and listen to the music or performance that inspired the digital art, and it's a really awesome exhibit, so make sure to go and see that. It is up through the end of October, and it's a beautiful time of year to take a walk in downtown Salt Lake. The two events that we're most known for are the Craft Lake City Annual DIY Festival that happens at the Utah State Fair Park in August, and then the Craft Lake City Holiday Market, which is at the Monarch in Ogden's Nine Rails Creative District. We're really excited that this year for our third annual, we're a two-day event, Friday, December 3rd and Saturday, December 4th. So that's kind of exciting. We've been able to expand the programming. It was so well received in 2019 that we're going to have it for 2 days. So to talk, and what you're here for is the third annual Craft Lake City Holiday Market at the Monarch in Ogden. It started in 2019. It's now a 2-day event. And we do have a COVID statement that I'll read. At this time, Craft Lake City anticipates that the third annual Craft Lake City Holiday Market will take place as scheduled as an in-person format with careful precautions taken to create a safe environment for makers and attendees based on governmental COVID-19 guidelines. An online alternative format will be implemented if necessary for the health and well-being of our community. So just something to keep in mind. But we are moving forward as an in-person 2-day event at the Monarch in Ogden. Other programming that Craft Lake City, oh, I'm sorry, I think I forgot some of these important dates. So applications are due on September 23rd, which is just a couple days away. So thank you for being here and taking initiative on getting your application in. We will announce the participants on October 15th, and then the holiday market is on December 3rd and 4th. Other programming that Craft Lake City is offering at the holiday market this year is the application assistance event, which you're attending now. We also have application fee support for those artisans where the application fee, which is $15. If that presents a barrier, please email liz@craftlakecity.com and we'll work that out with you. We don't want that to be a barrier. This year we are having a sponsored entrepreneur program. We work with local community organizations to bring new entrepreneurs and new artisans to our event and kind of test it out and get familiar with the creative community and also how to exhibit at such a large scale event. We have a sponsored families program as well where we offer free entry and tickets for food, vouchers for food and drink at the event for people who might not otherwise attend so that they can enjoy a full festival experience. This year we'll be offering 15 families this program at the holiday market in Ogden. So just application assistance day, just to review again, it's free and open to anyone who would like assistance with the application process. We're going to be talking about how to apply, and then also you're going to get some great tips from our professional photographer, Matt Morgan. And then again, anybody who would like to apply and the application fee is a barrier, please just reach out to us and let us know. And this is a little bit more about our sponsored entrepreneur program. They receive mentorship and business guidance, and then it's kind of a prep for our scholarship and mentor program that happens at the DIY festival. The only requirement is that you are a first-time applicant to qualify for that program. And a little bit more about our sponsored families program. We run this program also at the DIY festival, and so we're excited to bring it to the holiday market as well this winter. So first of all, why should you apply to the holiday market in Ogden? There are a lot of benefits. There's a great creative community that you will be able to access. It's great exposure for your business and also exposure to other businesses, an opportunity to network with other artisans in the area, some who have been longtime exhibitors at our events and some who are brand new as well. Offers an opportunity for feedback and to make some money and grow your business. So a lot of really good reasons to apply to the holiday market, but don't take our word for it. These are some of the quotes from people who participated in the 2019 event. We pride ourselves on being well organized and creating a positive experience for our artisans. So we're glad you're here and considering exhibiting with Craft Lake City. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the rest of the time, or some of the time, over to Liz to talk more about the application process.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Yes, we are just about to jump in shortly to the walkthrough of our website and the application so you can get a full preview as to what that looks like. So before you apply to the holiday market, as far as navigating our website goes, we have a few different resources on there that are going to be really helpful for you. And we're going to touch base on all of these. So we have the Craft Lake City landing page, which is our homepage. The holiday market page, which has the application link, as well as some other links for things like volunteer opportunities and the application prospectus. Application information, that's going to be a lot of FAQs and nitty-gritty details. And then the holiday market application link itself. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here, and we will do a bit of a walkthrough. Let me make sure that my window is up. Sorry. Okay. All right, can y'all see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is craftlakecity.com. So I am just on the homepage right now, and we're going to toggle over to the holiday market page. And of course, this will look a little bit different if you're on mobile, but there will be this hamburger menu in the upper corner of your screen. And that's going to bring up lots of different pages. We're this first section right here, the third annual holiday market. So we're just going to click right on that. Okay, so now we are on the holiday market landing page. And if you do want to switch languages, we have the option to do so right here in the upper corner of the page. So this just has kind of the where and when, our location, date, and time, a little bit of an intro, which is what Amy already mentioned about the event. We have our important dates. Most importantly, we have applications closing really soon. So if this is an opportunity that interests you, you definitely want to make sure and get your application in the next couple of days. And then we are going to be announcing participants on October 15th. And then if we scroll down a little bit more, we have those dates again, another link to the application, contact information for volunteers, a map of the venue. And then at the very bottom is going to be our social media. So we're going to just scroll back up here near the top of the page and hit apply today. And that's going to take us directly to the third annual Craft Lake City Holiday Market application. So from here, you are going to create a login so that you can pick back up on your application if you're not able to finish it in one fell swoop. So if you do not already have a login with us, which it will change every single year. So if you are a returning participant, if you've done events with us in the past, you will need to create a new login to access the Holiday Market 2021 application. So keep that in mind. Then if you're just getting started, you're going to hit this green button right here, and you will create your username and password to access the portal again. I have already done this, so we'll just use my login here to see some of the questions that are on there. Just real quick before we jump in, there is a link right up here to our exhibitor prospectus, which this has all, I'll share this just super quick so you can see what that looks like. But this is basically just a lot of FAQ and eligibility information. We'll talk more about this in detail when we go back to the PowerPoint presentation. But we have that accessible right here on the landing page for the application, and then our contact email if you have any questions or concerns. So I'm just going to log in. And if you forget your password, there's that button right underneath there where you can reset your password. So don't fret if that happens. All right, so here we are in the application itself. And as a reminder, it is open until the end of the day on the 23rd. So you have until Friday, September 24 to complete and submit the application. And these buttons right up top here, you can toggle between these. We have different categories with different questions in them. So this is the home landing page, which will tell you where you're at in terms of filling out all of these different categories of questions. It'll have your status and it'll turn green once you finish that section. You can go to your information. We have application questions, your product images, and then submit and pay. So we'll start by jumping into your information. So here, this is some really basic contact information here. We have your first and last name and your preferred pronouns, and then business name. Again, we'll be going over like some of the details for these a little bit more in depth. This is just going to kind of be a brief walkthrough. You do a short bio for your online profile. a link to your website, and then your social media channels. On here, we also have some contact information, your phone number, your email address, and then we have 2 different sections for your mailing address. The Utah State Sales Tax Commission, they will reach out shortly after the event wraps up. If you are, if you make it into the festival and you participate with us, the Utah State Sales Tax Commission mails you a flyer to fill out to submit your sales tax. But sometimes that can be different from the mailing address that you'll be using to receive your comp tickets. People who are accepted into the festival will receive some free tickets to the holiday market to give to friends and family to help run their booth during the event. So that's this your information section. Moving into application questions. This is where you can get really specific about what it is that you make. So you're going to select a primary category for which you're applying. So this is just the general theme of the type of product that you make. So we have the different categories here with some examples as to what each of those entails. So accessories, that would be like bags, belts, hats, keychains, etc. We're not going to run through all of these, but I'll give you a few examples. Artwork, this is one of our bigger categories. So 2D work created using painting, printmaking, photography, drawing, digital art, collage, illustration, etc. We have embroidery and fiber arts. We have a special category for holiday items, since this is a holiday market. We have mission driven, which is applicable to local nonprofits and businesses who are interested in sharing information about their mission and programming, but don't necessarily participate in like a craft. And then other categories on here. If you have any questions about which one you fall under, you can always message the Craft Lake City team, and we're happy to help you figure that out. You can also select up to 2 secondary categories that represent your work. It's, a lot of our participants, they do more than one thing. So this gives you a chance to, represent more of a breadth of the work that you create. And then here you want to explain if all of your products are handmade, and if not, what elements thereof are maybe exempt from that. Are all of your products made and designed specifically by you? And then we ask if it's your first time applying for the Craft Lake City Holiday Market. As Amy mentioned, some of our diversity and inclusion initiatives do specifically only apply to people who are first timers. So this is really helpful for us to know. And then if you have participated with us in events in the past, you would note that here, which years you did, and you can select more than one. And then we roll into holiday market exhibitor space. We won't go too far into this, but here you get to decide your preference as to which size space you would like to apply for at the market. So you're given the dimensions for the spaces, and then they're priced according to how big they are. And then we do, let's see. Oh, if you're wanting to apply for a shared 10 by 10 booth, you can note who you would want to share that space with. We have a section for any special needs that we should be aware of, especially when it comes to like mapping you out on the exhibitor map. And then will your setup require electricity? Most don't, but some do. And if you want electricity, we have a special section for that. This next tab is product images, and this is where Matt is going to help us out in determining what makes for some great images. But this is one of the most important parts of your application. So you want to include 5 high quality images to represent the product that you make. And as mentioned before, if you do create items that span many different categories, you're going to want to make sure that you include examples of each of those categories in the photos that you submit. So you'll have choose file, where you'll attach the pictures. You're going to give the name of your product, a brief description of the product, the retail price, and then if you would like, you can put the link to where people can purchase this on your web store. If you are accepted into the 3rd annual holiday market, your exhibitor profile will sync up to your online store, making it easy for people who are browsing to purchase items from you. And then at the bottom of this tab, you're going to pick a featured image for your online profile. So sort of the thumbnail that goes along with your business name. And then down here at the bottom, we have the Save Images button. So once you have all those put in, you're going to hit Save Images. And then the last field here is going to be Submit and Pay. As Amy mentioned, the application fee is $15, but please reach out to us if that is a barrier for entry to you, and we will work with you. There is also our vending application terms and conditions. So this is just the agreement that you'll sign off electronically to be part of our event. So you'll hit yes if you understand and accept the terms, and then you're going to type your name down here and hit submit. So that is the application. And as mentioned, if you aren't able to fill it all out in one go, that's totally fine. Just make sure that you hit save during each section as you're adding your information. And then when you go back to that application landing screen, you can log back in. Right. And if anybody has any questions as of right now, again, please feel free to drop those in the chat. Okay. I think that was it for the walkthrough. Amy, would you mind toggling us back to the PowerPoint, please?
Sorry, I'll get right there. Does anybody, first, while I'm figuring out technology, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask?
If any questions come up between the end of this call and as you're working on your application, you can reach out to us via email. You can also message us on social media. We're happy to answer your questions. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about eligibility for the holiday market. So our event is unique in that we are a locals only market. This applies to our holiday market as well as the DIY festival that Craft Lake City does every year. So to be eligible, you do need to be a creative maker or foodie who resides and operates in the state of Utah. And it is really important that you submit original handcrafted work that is made by you, the applicant. So we try to, I guess, filter out like drop shipped items, things that are not handmade. We really want to focus on things that are handmade and made locally. And then do note that the images and information that you submit in your application will represent the products that will be sold at the holiday market. So if you, for example, want to be selling things in different categories, so if you wanted to do vintage items while also doing embroidery and fiber arts, you're going to want to make sure that you not only select both of those categories on your application, but submit photos that represent both of those as well. That's really important. And if for some reason you come up with a new type of product after you submit your application and are accepted to the festival, definitely reach out to us with some photos via email so that we can approve those. And then you do want to make sure that you submit your application on time. The $15 application fee is non-refundable. Again, reach out to us if that is a barrier to entry for you. And yeah, that will be just by the deadline of end of day September 23rd. So as far as participation fees go, you saw a little bit of that as we were scrolling through the application questions, but we do have kind of a range of fees depending on your category and the size of space that you're wanting to exhibit in. So those range for artisans and craft food categories. Your holiday market participation fees are going to be anywhere between $130 and $410. For commercial food, which is its own separate category, that is going to be $525 to $600. And just to distinguish between commercial food and craft food really quick. So craft food is food items or edible goods that you prepare off-site in your own commercial kitchen and bring to the festival pre-packaged. And those can be consumed at any time. Commercial food applies to those who are larger scale food service operations who prepare food at the event on site for immediate consumption. And there's more details about that in the application. And then back to participation fees. Again, if you are interested in using electricity in your booth, that is $150. It is an optional fee. It is a bit of a costly add-on. The reason for that being that we only have so much electricity that we can use during the event without causing a safety hazard or an outage. So it is kind of a premium feature, but we do have that available if you're interested. All right, so jurying. This is a little known fact, but the applications for our events, whether it be the holiday market or the annual DIY festival, are juried anonymously. So we have a panel of local professionals, and it changes each time we have an event. And these jurors, they're not associated with Craft Lake City. So these are third-party jurors. All of the applications that we receive for these events are anonymously submitted to our jury for review. And jurors will actually only be able to see very limited information that you submit. So they are judging your work based on mostly the photos that you submit, which is why we have Matt here to help provide some guidance there. And then the descriptions and prices that you submit to go along with those images. So things like the description of your business, your social media, they will not have access to that. This is going to be an anonymous jury process. For commercial food vendors, those applications are processed a little bit differently. They are reviewed and juried by Craft Lake City's department managers. So some tips on how to make your application look awesome. So first thing here, we want to consider branding and identity as far as how the public is going to view your work. So one key thing to consider is how you name your business. So how you're going to be identified. Some people prefer to use their personal name, and some people decide to do just a business name or an alias. This is a very personal decision, so it's up to you, but do note that whatever you decide to go with as far as your business name on the application, that is going to be what is reflected across all the different communications leading up to holiday market, what you would have listed in the festival program. So you want to keep it consistent across all channels. And then consider, what is your brand? What is the personality of your company? Applications that have a really clear brand vision definitely stand out. And really, that is such a crucial element to success at a market like the holiday market. So yeah, definitely consider what is the personality of your brand, and how can you create a cohesive look and feel throughout not only your products, but all of the things associated with your brand, your business card, your signage, your display, etc. And then for the purposes of this application, you do want to write a short branded artisan description that just highlights what makes you unique, who you are, what you make, and why it matters to you. And you do want to consider establishing an online presence if you don't already have one. Sometimes our events can be a really great sort of incentive to start an online store if you don't already have one, or really boost your social media presence, because so much of what happens leading up to this market is us just highlighting our participants. So we want to make sure that people have access to you, to contact you and see your stuff before the market, and then also afterwards. If people see your stuff and want to reach out to purchase something, it's really helpful if you have a strong online presence. So your Instagram, making your public contact information available on the application, and then your website and shop. So online exhibitor profiles. Everybody who is accepted to participate in the annual holiday market will have an online exhibitor profile hosted on the Craft Lake City website. This will include your profile picture, the short bio that you wrote in your application, the link to your online store and social media sites. You can include an optional video as well. And then the 5 products with photos, descriptions, prices, and links that you submitted in your application. And what is really cool about this exhibitor profile is that recently Craft Lake City made it so that each person who applies and is accepted to the market can update their own profile at any time. So there is more information on how to do that on our website, and you'll receive, if admitted to the festival, in the acceptance email, there will be more information about updating your profile. But yeah, essentially this profile is built using all of the information that you put in your application. So you really want to put your best foot forward. Okay, considering our jurors, you do want to focus really heavily on products and taking high quality images of those products. Again, they are not going to see the background information about who you are, what your brand is. They are looking just at your product images, the prices, and the descriptions that you provide for those items. So you want to showcase the product with really high quality photos of the best 5 examples of products that you would sell at the holiday market. If you sell more than one type of product, again, include an example of each in your application. And you can check out our blog for more tips. You do want to write brief, engaging descriptions of those products, including the medium. So whether that's textile, whether that's like watercolor, yeah, just being descriptive as to what they're seeing in the photo, the size, the object type, etc. And you do have a character limit on that. And then you are asked about the handmade aspects of your products. So it is helpful to include a brief description of your making process. And then as far as pricing goes, this is a very, very personal decision. There's no exact right or wrong answer here, but you want to look for finding a good balance in your pricing. So something that is not too high and not too low, something that is accessible, that does not undervalue or undermine your processes and your expertise as a maker. So we recommend researching prices for similar products by other artisans if you're struggling to determine what your pricing should look like. Okay, for other important application components in the artisan category, again, you do want to really, really focus heavily on the photos that you're submitting, the descriptions that go with those photos, your product prices, and then the handmade aspect description to go with those. It is a very limited character count, but this is the most important part of your application because this is what the jury is seeing. And then for foodies, again, you want to focus on your product photos, descriptions, and then in this case, the company bio as well. Okay, and now I hand it over to Matt. Matt is going to do a walkthrough of how to take some great photos of your work.
Okay, so let's see, unmute. Can everybody hear me? I'm just gonna let the guys behind me know that I'm on. Hold on just one sec. Okay, so we're ready. So because photography is such an important part of your application process, today I want to go through a few tips and tricks on how to take the very best photos that you can. Obviously, this won't be comprehensive. There will be questions that you have, and there may be things that you come across that aren't covered here, but I'm going to give you my contact information now, and I'm going to give you my contact information at the end so that you can reach out to us here at Essential Photo Supply, and we'll help you with any questions and anything that you need. There's no charge for that. We're just happy to help. So my email is Matt, M-A-T-T, at essentialphotosupply.com. And you can always reach us at 801-410-8141. Those are our contact information. So I will make that available to Craft Lake City so they can pass that on as well. So we're excited to get going. I want to talk about 3 things today that are really important for taking great photos. I think the number one thing that needs to be considered when you're taking a photo is light. If we take a look at the word photography, photo means light and graphy means drawing with. So it essentially means drawing with light, and light truly is the most important aspect of your photographs. And now we are on this quest for really good light. So I'm going to use this as an example here, right? So I think I've moved into like not so good light. So we're going to look for good light here. So if I move over here, you can see a big difference between being in the sun and being in a different and better type of light. So we're going to talk about light, and we're going to talk about background. Background, I think, is the second most important thing, because when you're taking a photo and you are displaying your product, you don't want anything in your photo to compete with your product. Your product is the star, and we want to make sure that you have the ability to keep it the star. Thank you. So that's number 2, background. Number 3, we're going to talk about camera, or the tools that you'll use to be able to take a photo that is pleasing, and some of the ways you can use those tools to be able to take better photos. It's going to be pretty simple and pretty basic, but I think these concepts are, we're going to be using smaller products, but this concept is scalable. If you have a big product, then you just use, bigger versions of what I'm talking about today and back up a little bit. There's a lot of things that scale really nicely. Okay, so I'm going to start with light. And to do that, I'm going to pick up my computer here and turn it around. Hopefully I don't go too fast. One of the wonderful ways that you can light your images is by using window light. So when we're lighting our images, we want to look for soft and even lighting. We don't want to be half in the sun and half in the shade. We want to be even, nice, and beautiful. Window light is a really, really nice way. We are fortunate. We have really big windows here at Essential Photo Supply, and the only light source that I'm going to be using in the demo today is window light. Now, as you've noticed, we have direct window light coming in. Now, if you have direct window light coming in your windows, you're still able to use those. One of the ways that I have dealt with this direct window light coming in is I've actually moved my setup back so that it's not actually sitting in direct window light. The other thing you could do is you could put up a sheet or a piece of cloth in front of the window. Usually white is the best, so that you can diffuse that light coming in. Usually you want to be as close to your light source as possible. So as close to the window as possible. Because we have such big windows, we can be back a little bit, but putting up a sheet in front of your window will make that light diffused, and it will make your light much more beautiful. Okay, so we'll go back to this. And then what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about how I use light well, actually, I'm going to talk about my background first, and then we'll talk a little bit more about how to use light. So we're after a background that's pretty simple and clean, right? So what I've done is I went to the grocery store this morning and I bought some pieces of poster board. And this poster board is, I think these cost me 39 cents, right? It's just a sheet of poster board, and you can get them in multiple colors. I happen to grab white just because it's a really clean, nice color. And so I grabbed a few pieces of poster board and I put them on a table, and then I just used some $1 clamps from Home Depot to clamp this to a stand that I happen to have. You could tape this other piece to the wall, or you could put it up on anything that will hold it up. And then I just pushed this other piece against it. So now I've got a clean white background on the bottom and on the background. Another way you can do this is you can take this piece of board and you could bend it so that it's got this sweep here, and that gives you a nice background as well, and you won't have a line in the back, right? And that's a nice way of doing it. And then a third thing that you can consider when you're doing backgrounds is we actually sell background paper. These are 53-inch wide rolls of paper, and they come in every color of the rainbow. So if you're interested in paper that's a little bit wider, like I said, this is scalable. These are small for small products. We have 53-inch paper for even bigger products, and we have 107-inch wide paper for really big products. So we have everything that you would need to scale all of these concepts to a bigger product. But this is really nice because you can use any color of the rainbow. Now, one of the things I want to talk about as we start to photograph our product, we have this wonderful product from Aguas 801, right? I'm going to do one thing real quick. I'm going to make this a lot easier on us by blocking this direct light coming in on this bit. Okay, so I've got this wonderful product by Aguas 801, but it's got this see-through plastic bit right here. So what I noticed is my choice of background was white, but I didn't see this product till this morning. So I thought to myself, well, with this see-through background, it'll be hard to see on a white background, right? So I thought, well, maybe I'll grab a different color. But then I was like, no, I think let's look at a difficult situation and try and figure out how to make it work. So we're going to show you some tricks on how to make this actually photograph on a white background. It'll be fun. But the easy thing to do, there would be an easy way to just grab a different color background. And then you can see as I hold it in front of the blue, it separates itself. So color matters as well. Choose a color that complements your product. White is always a really good place to start. So that's what we use for background. Now, I will show you in just a minute if you wanted to use an environmental background. What if your product really goes well with your environment? You wanted to shoot outside with the trees in the background. I'll show you a trick on how to make that look really good as well. Right now, we're going to focus on a clean background. So now that we have a big window that we can use as our light source, and we've got a background set up, we need to choose a camera to use. I brought over a camera here. This is a Sony a6000. It's a mirrorless digital camera. It's a wonderful camera. It's relatively inexpensive. And what I mean by that, we have cameras that range from $300 to about $8,000. So one of the things I want to stress is that you can take great pictures with any tool that you already have. One of the things that I'm going to be doing the rest of the demo on, I wanted to show you this because these are options and you can take really nice photos of your products with cameras, and we have options. I'm going to use my phone, and your phone is a wonderful tool, especially if your photos are typically going to be just used on the web. And most products are promoted with photos on the web, then your phone is a wonderful tool. And there's really great things I'll show you today to help you take wonderful photos with it. So the tool that we're going to use today is our phone. And I'm going to do a really quick demo on how I would approach shooting this product in my little studio that I built out of 39-cent poster board, a couple of dollar clamps from Home Depot, and a window. Okay. So not hard. I also like to have some tape around. I'll show you why I like to have tape. And then one of the other things that I'll be using in just a minute is a reflector. And these are simple light reflectors that give us a little bit of a different look. So we're going to start with just a basic image with our window light. So I'll start with the pink one here, and I'll just kind of show you what I do. I like to show you my process. So I've placed this really close to the background. Now, if I take a picture there, I'm going to really see what's going on with the background and with this edge right here. So one of the tips and tricks I'm going to offer right now is, if you have space, let's not put our product right against the background. Let's slide it out away from the background. You're going to want it far from the background, or just far enough that you still have some space in front so that there's white in front of your picture. Okay. Now, the reason for that is it gives us physical separation from the background, which will give us that impression of separation in our picture. It just makes it look a little bit better. And then, I'm going to start with my camera, and I just do using my regular camera app. And I'm going to turn, I'm going to take a picture of this really quickly. And one of the things that I like to do on my camera app is, when you look at it, it's got just a regular iPhone. It has 1x or 2x, and it uses a different lens. I usually like to go to the 2x because it gives me a better look. So I'm going to go with that, and I'm going to go and take a quick picture. And then I need to use this real quick so we can block the light. And then I'll show that to you here on the screen. Kind of blah, all I did is I put it in there. I got some nice window light. I've got a background there. You can kind of see there's a line in the back, and there's not really all that great light on my subject. It's just kind of blah. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a look at two things. We're going to take a look at not photographing our product straight on. Okay, so we're going to turn our product a little bit, right? So I'm going to turn it a little bit sideways so we get a little bit of kind of some idea of the shape. I'm going to look at the top of this, and this is kind of pushed back. I'm going to maybe stand it up and make sure that everything looks really nice that way. And then the second thing I'm going to do is bring in a bounce light, right? This is going to fill in any of kind of the shadow areas. So this won't be in the photo, but this is a third piece of 39-cent poster board that I bought that will add a little bit of light to the back side, right? Because my windows are coming from this side, and this is going to add some light in here. so that I get some really nice even light on my subject. So we'll go back to our camera and then we'll take another photo of that real quick. So here's my first one, right? Oh, I got to grab this to block the light. I set up a tricky situation with the light in the windows here. So here's my first one, okay? And then here's the second one. Nicer, better, but we still have kind of a gray background and not a white background. So how do we overcome that? The next step is to use the tools of our camera. So on my camera, you can tap on it and you see that screen with the little sun. We're going to actually make it brighter by tapping on it and then scrolling up, and it makes it brighter. So using the tools of our camera to help get a white background instead of a gray one. So now I'll do another one. We'll come in here. I'll tap on it. I'll brighten it up a little bit. And now we can see. We'll take that off of there. We can see a much better image, right? It's much brighter and wider, but now we're starting to see that the top part of this up here is disappearing into the white background. So I'm going to have Tom come in and help me, and we're going to learn a trick. So what we're going to do to see this is we're going to actually add a little light to the back of our product to separate it from the front. And so Tom is going to use this reflector. It's got a silver side to it. He's going to reflect some light from the window and actually hit the back of the product over here to separate it. So you'll see this light kind of start. Hopefully you'll be able to see it as soon as Tom finds it. There we go. There, see? Now I'm going to do one more picture. And give me a little more on there. Yeah, right there. Let's see if I can find it up. Come over here.
There we go. There we go.
Okay, there it is. And so now we'll take a look at this and we'll go a little bit brighter. There we go. And so this one, make sure my screen's all the way up. You can start to see we're getting some really good separation of the top up there, right? So one of the things that I like to do next is we're going to look at another tool of our camera. And so, oh, get me out of here. And I like to use the portrait mode. So if I go into portrait mode, it's going to, down here at the bottom, I've got modes down here, so I can use portrait mode. It blurs the background a little bit. So I'm going to have Tom add that light. I'm going to come in here with portrait mode now and blur out that background. And then we'll use our tape to add a little straw to it, right? So this is kind of presentation. We'll put that straw down on here and add a little bit of tape, maybe bend the straw a little. And that tape will be hidden behind the packaging. We'll come in here. Give me a little bit more towards the back. There we go. There we go. Actually, let me put this back in here, back in that light. So this is the process. I'm looking on my phone. I'm looking at the product. I'm looking at how the light's hitting it. And I'm kind of starting to see what I like. And it's a very visual process, and it's active as you're looking at the product. And then there we go. Brighten it up a little bit. And so I've got a picture that I like. It's a little bit dark though. So now I can use a tool in my phone where I can go here and I can tap on this and I can brighten it up. And then I can go into my shadow areas and brighten those up. So I have tools here to be able to there. So now we've got just a really nice stylized fun looking image that isn't super boring, but we've got this really nice light and we're playing with light and we're adding light with a little reflector. You could use tinfoil on a cookie sheet or something. I mean, you don't have to use anything special. You can just use things that you have around the house. But this is so much more interesting now than just a basic plain picture on a white background, right? So these are some fun little tips and tricks. The nice thing about this setup though is let's take a less challenging product, right? So if I take a less challenging product, something that's already dark in color, and I put it on here and I bring it out and I go into my portrait mode and I take this picture, and without any manipulation, right? I have this picture right here. See that? Super, super easy. We had a really, really challenging product to shoot on a white background, right? And we overcame that by lighting, right? We looked for different light. We looked for lighting behind it in other ways. But if you've got so if I were to have chosen a darker background for this, then I could have taken a picture just like this straight out of the camera, right? So choosing your background is really important. So now let's go back to the beginning. So we have good light, good soft light coming from the windows. We chose a clean background. Then we also used a tool in our camera that allowed the background to be blurry. So you don't really see that line from the two poster boards that meet in the back anymore. That went away because I was blurring the background with my portrait mode in my camera on my phone. And that's a great photo that highlights your product. One of the things I told you I promised I would show you is what if an environmental photo is what you're going for? Well, all we have to do now is we move this, right? We take this away, we turn this, and we use the background that we have in our shot, right? And I'm on portrait mode. Back up a little bit. And then, so now we can see, I use the portrait mode so that it blurred the background. If you want your environment in, blurring the background with portrait mode on your phone, or using a camera that will allow you to zoom in and do that, these cameras will allow you to do the same type of shot. You can see that background isn't distracting from the product, right? So the same window light, right? I didn't change the lighting, I just turned my product. I'm using the same window light, nice, soft, and even, turned it to an environmental background, and using a tool on my camera by choosing portrait mode, I've blurred the background. So hopefully, as you approach your photography, we have light is number one, background is number two, and the tool that you use to capture your photo is number three. Those are the three key ingredients. Now let's see. I don't see any questions on there other than submitting videos, and that's probably more for you guys. But one of the things I want you guys to know that as you start taking your photos, we're available for help. There's Ken, Tom, and Matt here at Essential Photo Supply, and we're ready and happy to help you anytime. Like I said, Matt at Essential Photo Supply, 801-410-8141. And that's, any questions?
Matt, thank you so much. I always learn so much from these tips and tricks, you know, and I get really excited to take my own photos at home as well and try them out, because it's really demystifies the process. So thank you so much for being here and answering and giving some vital tips and tricks.
Oh, you're very welcome. And like I said, oh, let's see, my phone is too old for portrait mode. Yes, so there are some workarounds. It might require a little bit of software searching, but there are softwares out there that will blur a background for you. And if you want some suggestions, shoot me an email and I'll send you some suggestions for workarounds. If your phone is too old and you don't have portrait mode, I have some options for you that you would need to use on your computer.
And then just to quickly mention, I am going to be sending out an email for everyone who is here with a link to the survey, and I've included Matt's contact information. It's also in the chat right now if you want to go ahead and grab it here, but it will come to you, his email and phone number through an email right after this event. And then for anyone who doesn't have any access to some of these technologies, please email Craft Lake City. We do have an option that you can come in and use our tablets and some different things. So if that is a big barrier for you, please reach out and we will arrange something so that you can get your application in with the best possible photos. Any other questions for Matt before we move on? I did see in the chat that someone suggested a software program. Is it Enlightening? Is that correct, Elise?
I was actually just making a very bad pun. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah, that's a great pun. It is enlightening presentation, Matt. So thank you so much. All right, I'm just going to share the screen one more time with you all just to review a couple things about the application process. So once again, third annual Craft Lake City Holiday Market in Ogden, Friday, December 3rd from 5 p.m. till 10 p.m. and Saturday, December 4th from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. That's at the Monarch in the 9 Rails Creative District in Ogden. And just remember, please, our applications close on September 23rd. So go to craftlakecity.com. We did have one question that I would love to address. We had a question that if we could submit videos of products. And unfortunately, because of the way that we download everything to our jurors that Liz spoke about with it being anonymous, it's a lot harder to download the video. But once you have your website up, I do believe there's an option for a link to a video. So if that's something that you want to show the general public, you're definitely welcome to do that. We just can't transfer that to our jurors. Does that answer your question? Or if it doesn't answer your question, you're feel free to email us and ask us any more additional questions. I want to thank Matt once again from Essential Photo Supply for being here with us today. And then Liz for being on the call as well. And then Elise is our social media and communications coordinator. Thank you for being here today. And just a reminder, this video is being recorded and it will be posted to our website. So you can access some of this information afterwards if you felt like you missed something. Would you like to add anything, Liz, before we log off?
Thank you to everybody who joined. Again, please feel free to reach out to us via email, social media. If you have questions about the application, we are here to support you and want to help empower you to feel good about your work.
All right, just a couple more minutes if there's any last minute questions. Otherwise, we'll log off and thank you again for spending your lunch hour with us. We hope that you had your questions answered. And if you didn't, email or reach out to either Matt or Craft Lake City, Liz at craftlakecity.com. Thanks, everyone.